And I will say welcome to April 2024. I was in a different meeting with for a different purpose, and a friend of mine said,
Put it back on low.
"Hello, Mary, are you there?"
Sorry, I'll go on mute now.
Okay. A friend of mine said, "Oh, we have plenty of time. That doesn't happen till April." And this was literally 2 weeks ago. We were like, "Oh, but it is April." So time is flying. I can't believe it's already April. So like I said, we have a very full agenda today. We're going to spend most of our time talking about program evaluation. But before we get into that, I want to say huge thanks to all of you who participated in Cougs Give. Oh my gosh. The WSU Extension Master Gardener Leadership Team and the Master Gardener Foundation of Washington State Board of Directors came together with a leadership challenge of $10,700, which was, blew me out of the water. And then that challenge inspired $15,455 worth of gifts on April 17th for a total of $26,155 toward the Endowed Chair campaign. And Connors, we were part of the Connors challenge. So our total gift was 26,000. Connors rate, and we had 53 gifts. Connors total gifts was 150 gifts, and we had 53 of those. So be proud. Thank you all for that. Huge success. Reminder to put July 17th and 18th on your calendar for the in-person program coordinator meeting at the Kittitas Valley Event Center in Ellensburg. If that's not already on your calendar, put it on your calendar, and we'll get more information out about that soon. But we'll be team building and doing some deep dive into program evaluation, impact, and public value. Now I want to turn it over to Jana. She has some announcements about Sterling volunteers and wants to hold some space for any questions that y'all might have about EP14, which is the minor, our executive policy on engaging with minors. Jana.
I am getting there about as slow as I can.
Do you have
there we go.
Share?
Excuse me?
You need to share screen?
I will need to share one screen, yes.
Okay.
Okay, this just recently came to me as a possibility, and I want to run this by folks and let you guys see the capability, and then figure out whether you want it or not. There's two things I'm working on currently with Sterling. The first one is we have many counties that will pay for their veteran volunteers, but they request their new ones pay for their own, or it's flipped back and forth. And it's really difficult to manage because those never, they can never be moved over to the other folder because each account is an individual account. And the volunteer can go in and share it over to the other account, but we can't just administratively go in and change it. And it's all got to do with the law and how we have to keep the records. However, a recent discussion with Bridget reminded me that we do have a capability. I hope you're seeing the Sterling screen now. And I've actually got up a 4-H account because currently it's set this way on the 4-H accounts, and I really don't know why. But if you go into your communications and send an invitation, you can choose whether the client pays or the volunteer pays. So if you want to keep it in the same account, you can do this. The key to that is going to be the invitations have to be sent through the program. Currently, I'm checking to see if we can get separate links. I'm not sure about that, but it has to be sent through the program. And then if you say make a mistake and send somebody one that says we're going to pay for it and they do it, then you're going to have to pay for it out of your account. So there's two caveats there. I'm sure they can switch it for us here. I'm checking to see if we can get two separate links, and two separate good deed codes. So I'm just wondering if folks are interested in doing that. And a little feedback. Go ahead, Harmony.
Hi, Jana. Thank you so much. I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time understanding what it is you're explaining or offering to us. You're showing us that we can send an invitation to our volunteers to renew their background check?
Either one, whether it's renewal or the initial one, but you would have to choose in that drop down. You'd have to choose whether you're going to pay for it or whether they have to pay for it.
Is this a functionality that's already enabled in the, or is this a tutorial, or is this something that could be and you're asking for our input on it?
Some accounts have it enabled, some don't. I don't know why, but I know all the 4-H accounts have it enabled, which is really ridiculous because the 4-H program pays for all of them, but they have it enabled. Many of the master gardeners do not currently have it enabled, but it would solve that problem of having two separate accounts.
So we'd only have to log in once.
Correct.
But then, so then which one would you recommend that we log into and use primarily for all of our Sterling administration?
That's going to be your decision. I don't have a recommendation either way. But if it were me, I would pick the account that has the most background checks in it, so that whenever you need to have your volunteers move theirs over, it's the one that has the least number that has to get moved over instead of the most number.
Okay, so I go in, I find the account that has the most volunteers, and then I start sending all invitations to renew. Yeah, but they're not going to, but my users aren't going to exist if they haven't used that other account.
Yeah, this is, I mean, I'll have a full tutorial on how to do it. I'm just floating right now if people want the capability to be able to do it. Because for like a renewal, let's look at it this way. I'm going to use a fake county. You have 50 volunteers total. And this year you have 10. And in your account where the volunteer pays for their own, there's 10 volunteers in there, but you want them in the other account. They have to physically go into the system and share their background report with you to move it over to this other account. At that point,
Yeah,
you
that's
can
not.
send all their renewals and everything out of that account.
Oh. I see. So what you're suggesting then is, okay. So
I'm not suggesting, I'm only telling you this is an option. Because it does come with the responsibility. If you send the wrong one and you did not mean to pay for them, you're going to be paying for them.
Gotcha. I get that. So what you're showing us is that we can choose to start managing our Master Gardener volunteers in the Sterling interface through the account that has the most of them in one place. And we can have an option where we can have this drop down option for asking more questions or for excuse me.
Yes, I can change the settings to do that. I'm not sure if you have that capability right now. I'm just asking for feedback if people want that capability.
I don't, I can tell you right now, I don't. That's not turned on in the Clallam environment, but
you don't have it or you don't want it.
It would be interesting. I think it would make it easier in the long run.
Okay.
Jana,
Sarah.
I don't have it and I would love it.
How much is it worth to you?
I will watch
you got a whole bunch of them.
A lot of them. So
Yeah.
It's worth a lot.
Okay.
And right now we have one account of each kind, and then in the one where we pay, we offer that people can pay if they want.
Yeah,
and it's just too many. It's too many choices. It would be great to have just the, be able to invite people as we choose.
Yeah. Yeah. And just an FYI, every account we have with WSU gives the volunteer the ability to pay for their own. So even if you're paying for them, we feel like that's a way to get them to kick in a little bit of money. So every volunteer has that option. Alex.
Hi, Jana.
Hello.
So I see some problems here. I mean, I've had so many issues getting volunteers even into the Sterling volunteer system. It's been a nightmare here in Skagit, and I don't know if they're just having issues getting in. It's been really challenging to get in touch with support. So personally, for me, I don't think that would be smart to have volunteers having to go in and navigate the system to be able to share their profile to a new one. So that's just my 2 cents. I see that others might want that capability, but I don't think it would be easy to navigate.
All right. Let me give you a little feedback on people having difficulty getting into it. It's mostly people that don't understand the use of the spam or junk file, because some of the more popular email providers, Gmail, Hotmail, Yahoo, when they see an email come from this, they consider it spam and they throw it in. So they go in, they sign in, they may use the same email address they used 3 years ago. They may not. They may get an email from Sterling that says, here's how you change your password, but it goes into their junk file. And, you know, some people, I mean, I just recently went in and changed my mom's email address. So anything that goes to her junk file goes to trash. So I don't even see it. So people may have their emails set so that that happens. The sharing process is very easy, extremely easy. So we can make it so that we can provide screenshots that people could use to do that. But you don't have to do that. You can maintain it in the other email, in the other system. It's not going to really come to your advantage to move them over unless you're wanting to do a batch renewal email. Otherwise, it won't really be at your advantage because you're still going to have to send them an email regarding which account it is.
Great. Thank you, Jana. I really appreciate that. I know here in Skagit, we don't have 2 accounts. I think we only have one that we're managing. So it wouldn't be an issue here,
Yeah.
but I know other counties might have that issue. So I appreciate you bringing it up.
All right, let's put it this way. If you do not want that option, if you just do not want it on your account, please send me an email and tell me, do not add this to this county. Otherwise, I'm going to go out and add it to all the counties, and we'll schedule a time whenever I can walk people through how it's used.
Sounds good.
And then if there's no more questions about Sterling, I want to tell you, I've looked over most of the youth things that Master Gardeners do, and am I still sharing, or
No.
I shouldn't be? I've looked at most of the things that Master Gardeners do with youth, and unless you're sponsoring the solicitation of youth, you're having them register directly with you. It's important to keep in mind that not all of the requirements have to be met. The basic ones of not having one-on-one, one adult with kids, that one has to be met. But otherwise, we're not taking custody of them. They're usually coming with a group, coming with their teacher, or they're coming with other adults. So if you feel like you have a program that you think is one in which you're going to need to meet all the requirements, feel free to, excuse me, feel free to reach out to me and I'll walk you through it. Any questions about EP 14? Cool.
All right. Thank you,
You know,
Jan.
And I can tell you this just came up, and I just got clarification on it. When your volunteers are reporting their hours, travel time to and from their home may not be reported. However, if they come to the office and then take a bunch of stuff out to say a street festival and then come back to the office and dump it out, that travel time is reportable. So to and from, it's just kind of like us. To and from home is not reportable hours.
We'll cover that more next month when we have a little bit more time, because I think there's probably going to be some questions around that.
There are, and I think thank you for bringing that up, Jana, because the question has come up in my county. If an
Yeah.
MG is driving around from place to gather supplies and materials, can they count that time? So that, it sounds like from what you said, they could.
I
So
want
yeah,
to, Mary, I thank you for the question. I really want to focus on today's agenda. I know that's a question that needs to be answered. There's going to be a lot of conversation around it, and it needs to wait until next month so that we can fully cover it.
that's great. Thank you.
Yeah, and thank you for bringing that up because I'll make sure I have a clarification.
Okay. Thank you. All right. So, program evaluation. We've been talking about this for a long, long time, and I can't see all of your faces. Some of you have your pictures on, but I have a feeling that some of you might be rolling your eyes right now. You're like so tired of hearing about this stuff. You know, I wish that we didn't have to do this evaluation work, but we do, and it's extremely important to the continued success of our program. I was visiting with the coordinator yesterday or the day before, and that person shared a sentiment that I thought was spot on, and that's really the fact that Master Gardener volunteers are doers. They want to get out there and they want to do. They're excited about teaching what they know about, you know, on a subject that they care deeply about. They don't want to stop, step back, plan, and think about what they want the participants to learn in a way that we can evaluate it. And I think there's a lot of truth to that sentiment, and I can relate to that sentiment. Like, I just want to get out there and have a good time, right? So with thinking about that, you know, and then we also hear from volunteers a lot that they wish there was more funding coming into our programs. They wish there was more financial support from other entities. They wish that other entities knew more about who we are, what we do, and why we do it. And to get that support, we have to be able to tell a compelling and impactful story. So I'm going to try to share an analogy here, and hopefully this will work. I don't know. But think back when you were a kid, or if you're a parent, you know, think about when your kids have come to you and asked you for some money. Hey, Mom, can I have some money? Most of the time, our parents didn't just give us that money, or as parents, we're not just handing it over. Right? We have to have a compelling reason to hand that money over to our kid. And depending on the answer that our kid gives us, maybe we'll give them the money, maybe we won't give them any money, maybe we'll give them part of the money. Depending on their, you know, compelling answer. Was it compelling enough? Does it have enough data to back it up? We have to be able to describe with data and proof the value that we provide to the communities we serve and to the general population in order for Mom, or in our case, the other agencies, WSU or conservation districts or counties, to give us the money. We have to be able to tell that compelling and impactful story. In addition, program evaluation yields data that we can use to drive the decisions that we make about educational outreach offerings to meet the community needs. If we're holding classes and nobody's showing up for those, then we know that people aren't interested. If we're holding classes and hundreds of people are showing up for those, then maybe we need to offer more classes on that topic. And an ability to tell a compelling and impactful story with data will open up new opportunities for collaborations and partnerships with similar organizations, with new organizations who are maybe going, oh, I didn't know the Master Gardener program did that. I remember last year we were in Skagit County, up in Mount Vernon for the 50th anniversary, and I was doing, or somebody was giving their spiel about the program and what we do, and we talked about fire-resistant landscaping. And one of the Skagit County commissioners was a forester and spent her entire career in that field, and she had no idea that the Master Gardener program, was in alignment with her career. So you never know who you're talking to, and you never know who's going to hear and want to maybe partner with you. Program evaluation has the potential to increase funding, but we have to have a statewide approach. Evaluate on the same indicators and aggregate that data to show that impact and that public value. So with that in mind, I have some resources and a process that I want to share with you today. And I want you to always be thinking in the back of your head that this process and these tools that we are sharing, the Telling Our Story team focused on keeping it as easy for you as possible. We're not wanting to add more work to your plates, but we have to be able to get at program impact and public value. And it's also important to note that the resources and the process that I'm going to share, we know that it's not perfect. There will be glitches and there will be things that we learn along the way. The Telling Our Story team, we've been planning this for several months. And if I'm being honest, in my mind, I've been planning for this moment since 2018 when we started doing the SWOT analysis. If you were here then, we did the SWOT analysis, and then we revised our mission and our vision. We created the values and the program priorities. I knew the entire time that this was going to be the next step. So we've been planning this for many months or years. We've engaged you in the process by keeping you up to date on what we're doing. You've been helping create the logic models, asking for your input. And now it's time to do it. Let's do it. Let's get out there and evaluate our programs. So we will use the process and the tools that I'm going to share to evaluate. Then we'll check it at the end of the season. How'd it go, right? We'll ask ourselves those tough questions. And if changes are warranted in that process, we'll look at those and plan for how we will adopt those and implement those into the process, and we'll do it again. The goal with this is, to find the best possible solution for our program to evaluate and get at impact and public value. So let's look at the resources. I want to see if I can, is it going to go for me? Oh, okay. Oops. There we go. So Debbie Benbow has been working on our website, making a resource library for local food. And we're going to have a resource library for every one of our program priorities so that everything is all in one spot for you. This one's complete, or as complete as it needs to be right now, right? Like I said, we're always checking. We're always making sure that things are working well. So you're gonna look at the side of my face now because I'm sharing a different screen. Sorry about that. But this is the local food library. So you'll see in here the PowerPoint presentation template that you can download. You'll see the toolkit, a lesson plan for a sample lesson plan and a lesson plan template. There's a poster that Debbie has created ready to print. We have the local food icon. She's got a number of social media graphics here that are zipped, so you can download those and have those are ready to go. Facebook and Instagram images. A number of Zoom backgrounds for local food that you can use. And then some other helpful resources. There's a continuing education here, Seed Starting 101, that can be used for Master Gardeners. And then we get down here to program evaluation. So we have the logic model that we all crafted together. And then we have the local food survey, and then a QR code, a handout that you can use with the QR code and a link to the survey. And then the handout on calculating knowledge gained. And Debbie, she's amazing. So what she did, we've had this handout on calculating knowledge gained in a PDF, right? And we all do the math on paper. But Debbie put it all into a spreadsheet for us. So now all we have to do is put the numbers in the spreadsheet, and the spreadsheet does all the work. Let's see. All right. Thank you, Debbie. Yes. So that's the list of the tools. Now I want to talk about process for you. So I'm asking you as a program coordinator to work with your volunteers and choose one, just one, at least one local food educational outreach event to evaluate this year. Just one. You can do more, but I'm asking you to do just one. And then plan. Start with the end in mind. What should the participants learn and be able to do upon completion of that course or class, workshop, doesn't matter. Build the class, develop the class, the demo, the workshop, the field day, using the toolkit and the logic model, the lesson plan, and the PowerPoint template. And then teach to the learning outcomes that are in that logic model. These are the same learning outcomes that are in the program priority toolkit. We want participants to increase their understanding about how access to local food correlates to individual and community health and wellness. We want participants to learn that if they have direct access to fresh fruits and vegetables, that they're more likely to be healthy. We want participants to have improved awareness of the ways they can increase food security in their communities. And we want participants to be able to grow food, right? I mean, that's the whole purpose. The whole purpose is participants to grow food so that we can have these other things. And that's what we're most excited about in the Master Gardener program, is growing food. So these are the things that we want them to learn, but there's also the things that we want them to be able to do. We want them to be able to grow vegetables that their families, communities like to eat, grow fruit, and we want them to know that donating that food to a food bank, we want them to do that. And then we also want them, if they have time, to participate in community and food bank gardens. So if we're teaching to these things, and it doesn't have to be, a big to-do, it can just be a statement that you make at the beginning of the course. Or at the end of the class, you can say, oh my gosh, you've done these things And now you have so many tomatoes, you have no idea what to do with them. So please donate them. And then immediately following that educational outreach event, distribute the short-term survey. This is a handout that you can use that gives folks access to the QR code. It will take them directly to the survey or a bit.ly link. I'll also note that the PowerPoint template now has at the end of it the QR code and the bit.ly link to the short-term survey. So here's the survey. It starts with just the local food statement and lets them know that they're receiving the survey because they attended an event. Now I know that they just attended it, so this seems unnecessary, but the same survey or a similar survey will be used later. So they need to have this piece in there. We're asking them for the date. Again, it seems unnecessary because they just did it, but I need the date so that I can send out a follow-up survey in a given period of time. We ask them for where the event took place. And that's because I want to be able to pull the data down and give it back to you. We ask how many years the person has been gardening for food. We want to know if they're a brand new gardener or experienced gardeners. And then we ask them to rate their knowledge based on the things that you taught them about, based on the things in that logic model, on those learning outcomes. These are pre-post, which means after the class, we ask them, prior to attending this class, what was your knowledge? After attending this class, what was your knowledge? And then we ask them, what are the things that you're going to do because of what you learned today? We ask them about how they found out about the event, how they would rate it overall. And then we ask them to tell us the most important thing that they learned today. And that's to get out a testimonial, the qualitative piece of telling our compelling and impactful story. And then we tell them that we want to follow up in a few months. And we ask them for their email address. And this is where, we're wanted to make this as easy on you as possible. So the state office is going to take the responsibility of sending follow-up surveys, which is why we need that date, because then I can pull dates and I can resend surveys. The state office can resend the survey 6 months later and find out, okay, you said you were going to do these things. Now, did you actually do them? So the survey is going to be a little bit different because it's going to be, okay, you said you were going to do it, but did you do it? That's the medium term survey. That's the behavior change we're trying to get at. And then the last question is the optional demographic survey. This survey it takes them separate from the evaluation survey. There will be no personally identifying information connected to this, but it's a way, to make it easy for us to collect the race, ethnicity, and gender data. So what will happen is you send out that, you host the class, you plan with the end in mind, you're teaching to those learning outcomes, and folks fill out that survey, and then the state office takes over from there and sends follow-up surveys to participants. So I hope that you're still not rolling your eyes and thinking that, oh my gosh, this is just one more thing. One more thing. I really hope that, you know, you can see that we've worked hard to make this easy for you. I hope that you're seeing that program evaluation is an extremely important aspect of successful WSU Extension Master Gardener programming. We have to be able to describe with data and proof the value that we provide to the communities we serve and to the general population, or we stand to lose our voice. We stand to lose funding. We stand to potentially lose programs. We have to be able to tell that compelling and impactful story. In addition, we know that doing program evaluation yields data that we can use for our decision making to make sure that what we are doing is actually meeting the needs of the community. An ability to tell a compelling and impactful story with data will open up new opportunities, collaborations, and partnerships with similar organizations. Program evaluation has the potential to increase funding for our program. But again, we have to have that statewide approach, evaluate on the same indicators, and aggregate that data to show big impact and public value. And by following the process that I laid out today, that the Telling Our Story team has been working on, we can be successful. So I'm asking you to use the tools and the process, select at least one local food event, plan, and evaluate that. We know that it won't be perfect, and that's okay. We're starting, we're getting something going, right? That's huge for us. We're going to get some good statewide data with this and with testimonials that will help us tell that compelling and impactful story. We will get better at this over time. And as adjustments are made based on the things that we learn. So I want to say thank you for helping to improve our program by selecting at least one local food event to evaluate this year. Next month, we're going to launch the resource libraries for climate change, water conservation, and plant biodiversity. And I will add one more thing to your plates and ask you to choose at least one of these and evaluate one of these educational outreach events in 2024. We'll talk more about that next month. I'm sure you have questions, thoughts, concerns. Go ahead, Harmony.
I noticed in the survey that it had one of the questions asked them whether they would like to receive some Master Gardener news and information.
Yep.
What are they signing up for?
Well, the thought behind that was because it's connected to the county, right? So then I would share that back with the county so that you could add them to your mailing lists. Okay.
Great, that makes sense. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Is this something you can do? Is this something you feel like you can take on?
Yes, you've set things up. I feel so relieved. And I have, the everything is there. So, and I have some volunteers that are interested in helping with this. So I think we can make this happen. Yes.
Oh, Jackie, that makes me feel good. Thank you. Any other thoughts?
I'm gonna do my best over here in Walla Walla. We don't do a lot of teaching,
Okay.
so there's one thing coming up that I think that we could probably do the local food evaluation on, but it's going to be a struggle for us to find another because
Good.
we focus on plant clinics, and our volunteers aren't necessarily interested in doing workshops or demonstrations or classes or anything. So we'll try our best.
I
I think
appreciate
it's
that.
great. I think it's really great. And if our it's just,
Right.
we're a small program.
Yep, understood. Yeah. And at some point we'll focus on plant clinics and how to evaluate those as well. But so thank you. Sarah.
Yeah, we can definitely do it. We already have our speaker events all kind of lined up. So what I guess the thing I've been thinking about right from the beginning is how to retrofit somebody else's talk
Yeah.
that they're working on to fit in with this. And that's where I like to support people giving talks, but I also think that the speakers would benefit from feedback and from structure. So I'm looking for ways to do this without to do it in a way that supports them giving the talks that they're already going to do, instead of kind of saying, well, actually, but you're going to give a completely 100% different talk than you were planning.
I get that. And there's when I was in the county and the state office would say, do these things. I'm like, oh my gosh, why didn't you tell me this in November? Right. And so I've always tried to make sure that kind of stuff happens in November, but I got it, or, even December. But now that I'm in the state office, I don't have time in November and December to do this stuff. And so there's too many other competing commitments. And so I get that this year it's not going to be perfect, right? I know that. But we decided we have to start somewhere. And so I appreciate the feedback, and I get it. I totally get it.
And people are on board with all of the big ideas about this in King County. It's just mashing it all together into, and this is the survey, and this is the, the teaching lessons is the part that's going to take some finesse.
But it's good to hear that they're on board. Great. Mary.
Thank you. Yes, I have a question about the newsletter that they would be signing up for if they fill out that field. I thought that was going to be the Seeds of Thought, the state level.
Yeah, it could be both, right? We could, if they have, I don't want to sign, I cannot assign, we can let them know about Seeds for Thought, but I can't sign them up for Seeds for Thought. So as we go down that path, we can figure that out, because we're not allowed to automatically sign people up for newsletters.
Right, but I thought if they were filling that out, then that was where that would go. So the reason I'm asking is not every county has a public facing newsletter.
Yep.
So if they are filling that out and expecting to get a newsletter and then they don't get anything, we're setting it up for frustration.
Well, they'll get the opportunity to sign up for Seeds for Thought. Everybody will.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep. Jackie?
I just wanted to share something real quick. We started using those evaluations consistently just during our trainings this year.
Okay.
And then some of our speakers that I know are going out and doing talks, I had them pick 3 points from their talks. So we've been using not from the toolkit really, but just getting them used to using that evaluation that makes it match to their presentation. And the last class that we had, the presenter had the class. She said, I want to point you, I want to go over the evaluation with you. And she walked them through it and explained why those parts were important.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh my God, I haven't been doing that. I just say, here's your evaluation without any, and anyway, I thought it was a really powerful thing to do.
Right.
And other people might be doing it. I just had never thought of it. It was just, here's your handout, fill it in, fill it out and turn it in.
Right. Okay. Okay. Thanks, Jackie. Well, we're going after it, right? We're going to do it. And I appreciate your support. Please let me know if you have any questions. If you can find that library, the local food library in the For Volunteers under presentations on our website. Moving on, because I want to make sure we have time here. Announcement, big announcement, brand new. We have not increased the price for basic training in at least 10 years. And so I am updating or increasing the price from $75 to $85 for online training starting fall 2024. So if you're training in the fall, it will be $85. And then the folks who train starting in January, it will also be $85. And also the registration software that new volunteers will use is changing from CVent to Stova. Shouldn't impact you. I just wanted to let you know that that's happening, but that's all behind the scenes stuff. Shouldn't be an issue for you. And now I want to turn it over to Bryce. He's going to give a curriculum update and talk to you about his need for what we're calling lesson plans, but maybe they're not really lesson plans. Bryce?
Okay, hi. Thanks, Jennifer. I don't want to be another person to just pile on things, ask you for, but I'll just give you a little update first. So we're continuing to work on the curriculum. The book is done. I mean, it's not like ready yet to be read, but it's done all except for about 6 chapters, which just need some final copy editing. So that's pretty exciting. And I've been going through the book and matching it up with who was the author and then who could create more materials for it, because we're going to have like little PowerPoint lectures that go along with each chapter to put in the curriculum in Canvas to replace the ones that are there, and then just some other video content that we're asking people for. So I've been spending time contacting these people all around to figure out, well, basically just to ask, are they willing to do more? And that's been good. This is the sheet that I've been working on here. So I didn't really have a whole lot to say about this, except we do still have a few chapters where we haven't really identified someone who could or who might be willing to work on videos for it. So we've got basic botany. Actually, I just heard back from this one on home orchards. That person said they can't do it. So we need somebody for that. House plants, plant healthcare and IPM. So if you know of someone who's an expert in one of these fields and who might not mind lending their expertise to summarizing the chapter in a PowerPoint and maybe putting together or finding some video content that we can use, that'd be very helpful. Just let me know. Yeah, you can send me a message in the chat or send me an email. Any of that's fine. Okay. So these lesson plans. So I've sent to the coordinators listserv now in the last month. I've sent a description of how what we're looking for in lesson plans, and then I sent a reminder. And this week, Jennifer very gently mentioned that perhaps the use of the word lesson plan is a little bit off-putting and doesn't really help people understand what we're doing here. So these are just descriptions of some sort of hands-on in-person activity that you do with your trainees, or that you have used, or that you know of and haven't used yet. Any sort of thing like that And basically you could send it to me in any state that it's in right now. Anything would be helpful. It would be, well, okay, so here's an example. I'll just show you, here's an example. This is the one that I got this week. Oh, it says on the top, from Erica Johnson. There are places on the form where you can click and then fill in the details. There are places which just bits of text that just stay how they are. You can click which program priority is appropriate, which learning outcome, and then you put your own really specific learning outcomes in here, and then you just describe it. If you are working on one of these right now and getting really frustrated, I just wanted to let you know, just send it over to me and let me know, because there are text boxes that you fill in under each of these bullet points. But we found out this week from some things that Tim sent me that you can't actually put bullet points within this text box. I don't know, it's some sort of weird limitation. So you have to do those. If you have something where you're describing something and there's like points and subpoints, then you'll have to put that outside of the little text box that I provided. But I mean, you can send it to me in any state and I'll fix it up. I don't mind doing that. And the goal is to have them all looking the same so that anybody could go into the Canvas shell when they are setting up a new training for a new season and find different activities to use with a full description of how to do that activity. I just wanted to show you on this one, Erica actually had a lot of things that went with it. Like she has this worksheet that goes with it. And again, this is not something that Erica made for this. It's not like she got an email from Bryce and she was like, okay, I'm going to sit down for 20 hours and invent this thing. This is something she was already doing. And she said, how does this work? And in fact, Erica then asked one of her master gardeners if they were interested in sort of translating these into lesson plans. Anyway, I just wanted to show you, there's things that go along with this, and I was able to put them all in one document. The idea is one of you could download this, print the thing, have the handouts, be ready to go in a few minutes. And I guess well, let me see if I have this other one up. Oh, okay. So just as another example, this is one that I got from Tim this week. And this is one where I decided that there were so many extra things that went along with it, these documents like quizzes and keys and all these sort of things, to not put it in one document, but I'll just put it in a folder in Canvas. So same sort of thing. Any coordinator could go into the folder, look at the lesson plan, read over it, see its reference to all the handouts, find the handouts, print them, use them. You could be ready to go. Maybe more than 10 minutes for this one, but you'd be ready to go. One other thing that somebody said is that some counties are using a really in-depth descriptive syllabus to describe what happens during the whole training. And in that syllabus, there might be a description or multiple descriptions of different activities that you do. And even that would be a starting place. Even if you sent me your syllabus and said, okay, here's a couple that I think are really good, on page 3 and page 7. If you look at these ones, those ones would be really good. I don't have time to put it in your fancy template for a lesson plan, but here you go, Bryce. And even that would be great. And I would use that and I would pull from it and put things together with the ultimate goal, again, of providing these to everyone so that everyone, like, especially right when they're starting out as a coordinator, or when they're looking for new ideas, or when they just want to implement something that they haven't before, that they'll have a place to start from, the lesson plan. Okay, I think that's it, but I do want to answer any questions that you have about how to do these or how to get them to me. So what have you got?
Thanks, Bryce. And I'm just going to reiterate again, the overall goal is to have these lessons that are ready to go for you, so that for our new coordinators or experienced coordinators, if you've got an idea, you're not quite sure, how you want to do it, these tools will be available in your Canvas course, and you can look at them, pull them down, and teach from them.
Just throw out that I way overthought this and thought that I really had to go, put everything in the right language and And what I just want to reiterate what Bryce just said. If you send what you have, I know having traveled around to some of the other counties, especially in Eastern Washington, that there are some great hands-on activities that you all do. And it doesn't take much to maybe just describe that or summarize that. And I think it would be great if people were able to share. I know it's a thing and nobody has time, but it really might help out other coordinators if you were able to share. And so I'll stop talking now.
Thank you, Tim. Sarah, did you have your hand up?
Yeah, I'm getting pretty bad imposter syndrome right about now with some of the lesson plans. And I guess my question is kind of more like, is there a minimalist version that you could point us to of this activity isn't going to be helpful because there's not enough in it, or this type of, but the amount of content isn't necessarily something I'll be able to supply.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, the one that I originally sent out, maybe that's what I would refer you to, and I can send that again, because it's one that I made up, and it really doesn't. I mean, it doesn't have extra things that go with it. It doesn't have, quizzes that go with it or anything. And actually, the explanations in it are quite brief, and I think I fit it all on 2 pages here. So again, so all this stuff at the beginning here, this is not stuff that you have to write. This is all, it's just on there. You just click a couple boxes. So then all I did for this one, oh, sorry, this is one that's not filled out. This is a blank one. Well, anyway, a couple sentences for each of these things where it says, click here to enter text is probably, that would be a minimal thing. And that would probably be enough.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thanks, Bryce. So we have a couple minutes here. So let's see that I have 2 things. We have announcements about the program coordinator conference. I'll email those out, and then about the advanced education conference, I'll also email that out. Alex is here today and to talk about the benefits of the Microsoft 365 project and the email client that we're talking about, the Ask a Master Gardener email address. We're working with a number of counties to get that going. But Alex said that she's been receiving a number of questions with, can you give me some real concrete examples of how you use MS 365, in particular SharePoint, in your county. So I'm going to turn it over to Alex. I realize it's 2 o'clock, but I think she's got some good examples here that will really help you understand what we're trying to accomplish with this project. Alex.
Great. Thank you all for bearing with us. I know it's been a long meeting today, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen with you. And while I'm doing that, I'm just going to kind of talk about, Microsoft Office 365 is a very powerful tool that I think all of us should want to use. And what I'm showing you right now is the Skagit County Master Gardener SharePoint site. And what this is a cloud-based system where we can share and collaborate and do all sorts of things together. You can see that I have several different groups, and how you might want to think of this is kind of like filing cabinets. Each group is kind of its own file, and different permissions are given to different individuals depending on if you want them to be able to access, to edit, do whatever you need to do. And it's really important that we have master gardeners be able to access the system so that you as a program coordinator don't have to be that bottleneck of information. So what I'd like to talk a little bit about today is our outreach SharePoint system. So let me just move you guys around. I can't quite get to the area. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I went ahead and loaded, since it takes so much time for this stuff to load. So I'm just going to navigate to my next page. Can you all see the outreach page now? Okay. Yep. So this is our outreach site. And so a number of people have access. We have 11 members over here. You can see this is a public group. And what I had happened to me a couple weeks ago is I had our clinic lead contact me because she wanted to update an intake form for our clinic. So basically what I did is I sent her to this area. We went down to our grab and go boxes, which I also have already preloaded. And what I did is I sent her here to find the most up-to-date document and then get in there to edit. And then once we were ready to approve, we put it in print ready. So we have all of our source files here where I can send Master Gardener volunteers. I also have a team that helps me send people here. It's not just me. And we can just send people here to kind of find those documents. And so what I'll do is I'll just click really quick in here. So you can see some of our editable source documents. Sorry, like I said, it takes a minute to load. But this is kind of most of our outreach flyers. I just was in there this week updating civil rights statements. So it was super easy for me because I had them all in one location. I just was able to click in there, pull up the box where I had the civil rights information, update, and done. And then I was able to take these source files and then take them to our, sorry, excuse me, I've got to navigate back to our print ready area. And then we move them there once we were ready to go. And we PDF these and we use different files to do our source files as well. And this is just the perfect example of me being able to say, hey, you really need this document. That's great. Don't you know you can find it right here on SharePoint? And that way I didn't have to do it. So I hope that was helpful, giving a concrete example of how powerful this tool can be to not just help you, but help other Master Gardener volunteers. Now I'll stop there, stop sharing so I can see if you have questions for me.
Thank you, Alex. So like she said, that's one example, but it's really a, you know, it's a powerful web-based tool that has capacity for, you know, file sharing, collaboration, video storage, photo storage, group communication, and, you know, storing clinic files. I mean, you name it, it really can do it for us. And it's all within a system that WSU can support, which I think is key. And it's within a system that is safe and secure. So our, you know, our own personally identifiable information, or if we're collecting personally identifiable information from our participants, you know, we know that's in a safe and secure place.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We're here to support you. And I know Bryce was probably seeing my training team file there with all of our documents. So this would be like the perfect opportunity for me to just be like, hey, here's a link. And then he'd be able to get access to all of that information. So it's a really simple thing that all of us should be doing so that we can collaborate with each other very easily. And that's all I have to say today. So thanks for bearing with me.
All right. Thank you, Alex. So our next meeting is May 22nd. And we'll be continuing to talk about program evaluation and some of these other things. In the meantime, as always, if you have any questions, let us know. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, all. Bye-bye.